Hello, hello. So, I was the seventh of eight kids, which means that most of the recipes that my mom passed on to me cook enough food for 10 or more people. 10 people with leftovers usually. Now, I know how to half a recipe. Halving a recipe is fairly easy. Tenthing a recipe, not so much. Um, so, how do you do this? Besides which, you know, making a single serving of some stuff just isn't fun or isn't practical or whatever. A single serving of soup. Now, I'll eat soup from a can sometimes, but sometimes you want to make it from scratch. So, what's a bachelor to do? And so basically, I've taken to canning stuff. Make a big pot, can the leftovers. Now, when I first started cooking, sort of my point was I will eat stew for the rest of the week or chili for the rest of the week. Whatever I'm cooking, I'll make some, I'll eat it for the rest of the week. Or I will take some into work and microwave it and have it for lunch the next day or whatever. That's one way to go. Sometimes you just don't want stew every day for. So recently I have started canning. Now, this is not canning in the traditional sense. This is what I call bachelor canning. You make your pot of stew or soup or chili or whatever you make your pot of, and you're planning on eating it within the next 3 or 4 weeks. So you gotta have it keep that long. Now some people say why not just use Tupperware, and I have found Tupperware doesn't always keep things well, or at least not in my refrigerator. My refrigerator, for some reason, it allows mildew in Tupperware. So, like I said, I started quote unquote canning. So just gonna share how to can, bachelor canning I'm calling this. Gonna share my secrets, not really secrets. Now, like I said, my mom was a cook, she also canned. We would get 2 bushels of peaches and spend a day peeling them and pitting them, and then she would spend a day canning them. Um, this is not what I'm talking about. That's got the whole process of you got to sterilize your bottles, and you might, she put parafilm around the edges just in case the seal wasn't proper, and all this other stuff. And that's not what we're doing here. That is quote unquote proper canning, but that's also for, we're going to can a year's worth of peaches and store them on shelves in the basement for a year or more even. And so you have to take special precautions when you do all this. What I'm talking about is gonna make a pot of stew, gonna have stew for the next 2 or 3 weeks, but I'm not gonna have it every day. So I just want to make sure that this lasts for a few weeks in the refrigerator even. So don't have to sterilize the bottles, don't have to do all the stuff that we're gonna do when we do normal canning. Sort of cheap and simple and quick. And so some people disagree with this. I've had no problem with it, having gotten food poisoning from my home canning. I'm just going to share because, like I said, if you're a bachelor, there are some dishes that you want to make which they make better in bulk, and you just don't have enough to eat, or too much to eat in one setting. So unless you want to eat it every day for the rest of the week, you gotta preserve it somehow. And so, like I said, bachelor canning. So, simple thing. 32-ounce chicken pickle jar. This will hold maybe 2 bowls of whatever you're canning: soup, stew, chili, whatever. That's enough for a meal. 24-ounce chicken pickle jar. Same thing. That'll hold, large bowl or 2 small bowls, or however you want to do it. Then of course we got like the 12 to 16-ounce jelly jar, peanut butter jar, whatever. That'll hold a single serving. Maybe I want to have soup in a sandwich in the future. I'll put it in a smaller jar, so enough for 1 bowl of soup, and then I make my sandwich, and there's my meal. So basically, just save jars from stuff. I'm assuming you're still eating peanut butter and jelly, still eating pickles and stuff like that. So get glass jars, save them, save the lids. Works good. You of course want to make sure they are clean. I said we aren't sterilizing them, but we are washing them. So washing between use. Keep them where they're not going to get dirty between use. Sometimes that just means wait till they're completely dry and put the lid on them. You might want to re-rinse them before you start canning just to be on the safe side, but for the most part, as long as you wash them good, when you're done with them, they're usable. Now the real secret here is, like I said, we aren't sterilizing these. We're just making sure we put the food in it while the food's still hot. So you make your pot of chili. You don't eat dinner, then watch TV, and 3 hours later put cool chili into your jars. You fill your jars up and seal them while it's still hot. And then you eat dinner. And so that's the big secret there, just making sure. What are you doing when you sterilize jars? You heat them up to kill the germs. So if you're putting your food in while it's still hot, won't that also kill the germs? Now, some people say no, and not for a long time, but again, for 3 to 4 weeks, it'll work. I haven't died of ptomaine poisoning yet, so I am proof that it can work. Just gotta, again, want to make sure the stuff's clean before you use it. Want to make sure the stuff's hot before you put it in. Then the last thing I found was the canning funnel. And this is it's just your typical funnel. It's just got a wider base so you can pour stuff in it. And that's largely, I tried just using a normal mixing cup or a measuring cup and scooping stuff in, and I'd have soup and stuff running down the side of my jars and all this other stuff like that. So I went this was $3 to $4 online. Works good. Allows you to fill your jars without spilling stuff. And that's all it takes. So why why would you go through all this when you can buy a can of food at the store? And I do eat canned food sometimes because sometimes I don't have time to cook. And my answer to that is very simple. Several answers. One is I try to garden. So if you're growing food, you got to eat it somehow. And so sometimes some stuff, goes straight into salad. You eat it raw, no problem. Other stuff goes into soup, goes into stew, goes into whatever. Right now I'm making some tomato zucchini soup out of homegrown tomatoes and zucchinis. So that's all going to go in these jars and when it's done. And so, like I said, you can't really buy that in the store. You can buy canned soup. You can't buy all the soups you want in the store just because they don't make them all. So sometimes, like I said, if you like to garden, which it's a fun pastime, I think everyone should try a little bit of gardening from time to time. But sure, it's good way to store your food, or grow fresh food, eat fresh food, cook your own food. You got to cook from scratch. Along those similar lines, if you're trying to eat more healthy, then cooking from scratch allows you to better control what you put in your body. Not gonna get all of the 100% organic, maybe not, but you don't have the chemicals going in. So, you know, don't necessarily have to buy organic vegetables, but just not having all the extra dyes and other stuff going into it is better for you. So if you want to eat healthy, it's a good idea to try and cook from scratch more often. Cooking's fun. It can be fun. I can understand, no one wants to cook day in and day out, and then it will get tedious. But it can be fun, if you only do it from time to time, which again, making a big pot of stuff and then just have to reheat it when you want it. Yeah, you only have to cook once or twice a week then. Some women like a man who can cook. So, if you're a bachelor and you want to get more dates, then being able to cook helps. So there's all sorts of reasons. So you don't necessarily have to cook your girlfriend a fresh made meal. You just have to have a jar of homemade food ready that you can just reheat, and she'll still be impressed. You can still tell her, oh yeah, I made this. You just didn't have to make it in a rush as you're preparing for your date. You just had to make it last week and have it stored in a way that all you have to do is now reheat it, and she'll never know that it was made a week ago, unless she asks. Be honest. Yeah, women are crazy. They will break over things like, well, 5 years ago you told me you made that fresh, and you actually made it a week earlier. And, how can I ever trust you again? Well, that was my one lie in 5 years. But nope, you lied to me. Our whole relationship is based on a lie. Anyway, that's more jokey. There are women who will do that, but most won't. But that's it. Just wanted to share, like I said, simple enough. Few simple items. You can start cooking. Start saving the stuff that you cooked on your own, and enjoy it more. Have more free time to do other stuff because you're making stuff in bulk and then just reheating the leftovers. Eating healthier. All sorts of reasons for doing this. I thought I'd share it. Try to make people's lives a little easier if they wanted. So that's all. Have a nice day and bon appetit.